Alright, so by the way, at Rubixinator on Instagram, shoot me a DM if you ever have any questions or you want to get connected. I have so much fun hanging out in the DMs and actually being able to support and help people in the world of crypto, DeFi, investing, and just kind of like, this is a world I absolutely love, and I'm always happy to support you. So I have a kind of a question or conversation we've been having on someone who's brand new to DeFi, knows nothing about it, and sees the APRs and APYs that are happening. They had a bunch of questions around DeFi, and it kind of inspired this video. And I got a bunch of little topics in here. But anyways, I think the simplest way that I can explain DeFi to someone who really doesn't fully understand it yet or grasp it, or is asking like, where does the actual yield come from? Where does the money actually come from? How am I getting paid? Is this a Ponzi? Could I get rugged, scammed, blah, blah, blah? Is anything centralized finance can do, banks, Wall Street, everything they can do, we can do in DeFi. And DeFi is like a banking system built by the people for the people, and it's trustless. Maybe you've heard that before. Meaning it's smart contract based. So instead of there being some centralized authority that says yes and no to certain transactions, blah, 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 it's smart contract based. If this, then that. It's computer code. And so think about lending, which I'm a huge fan of on the blockchain. So instead of right now in traditional finance, I'm setting up a private lending deal, and it's really favorable to me, and I'm really excited by it. And there's a bunch of legal, a bunch of contracts, notaries, and it's just like now the banks are involved, and it's sort of kind of complicated. Whereas over the blockchain, I can get almost the same return that I'm getting with this private lending deal in traditional finance, but I can do it over the blockchain and I can have my money lent out within 15, 20 seconds, and it's fully collateralized and it's smart contract based. So let's just say that over the blockchain, I decide to lend out X amount of dollars. The end user locks up some of their crypto, call it Bitcoin. We've been doing this on Aave. We got a ton of videos on it. You lock up some of your Bitcoin. You can borrow money basically from me, aka the pool of lenders that are lending out their money. And if you take on too much risk, or if the price of Bitcoin falls and you hit your liquidation levels, the smart contract will liquidate your Bitcoin to make sure that the lenders can get paid out. There's no way to manipulate the system. There's pros and cons to that, of course, but ultimately that's what DeFi is. If you think about the stock market and all the trading that happens, or currency exchange. Every time I travel to the States, I have to go to the bank and I have to exchange. Or if I travel to Europe, wherever I'm traveling, I've got to exchange. Mexico, I got to exchange for pesos. They're making a fee off that. In decentralized finance, we, the liquidity providers, are putting up liquidity into the bank of DeFi, and I'm really simplifying this. We're putting up the liquidity, and when traders are buying, selling, doing whatever, swapping, trading, we get a fee. We get paid the fees. Now, banks are some of the most profitable entities. Wall Street is extremely profitable. And the middlemen, the banks and Wall Street, is getting paid a ton on all those transactions. DeFi is the same, except we are the liquidity providers. We are the bank. We are Wall Street. Let me know in the comments if this is making sense so far. I can do a part 2 and part 3 on this, by the way, and actually like go behind the scenes and show some cool stuff on the computer. But I really want this concept to land. And fundamentally, that's the movement with DeFi. And if you actually look at the chart of DeFi, I mean, it keeps attracting TVL. It keeps attracting liquidity. It keeps attracting dollars. It keeps attracting users into the space. It's going to be, I say 10 times bigger, but I don't even think I can fathom how big it can be. Peer-to-peer transactions. I'm able to zap you $100, it costs me almost nothing, and it's done in a second, and I can do it Sunday at 3 a.m. No bank needs to say yes or no. I can send $1 million. I can send $100 million, which I don't have, but I could send you $100 million. It would probably cost me a couple pennies to send over the blockchain to you. You would have it within seconds or minutes, depending what blockchain we're transacting on. And there's no bank to say, hey, you can't do that, or let's freeze that transaction, or ask 1,001 questions. Now, there are some cons to this, by the way, which is why I still think that DeFi and crypto is in its infancy, because it can be hard to use. It can get complicated. A bank, if there is fraud, or if there is some kind of hack, or if someone steals your Visa and swipes it, They have protocols to freeze those transactions, to make it right with you. I had someone who somehow stole my Visa, this is maybe 2 years ago, and they put thousands of dollars through it. The bank actually called me and said, hey, is this you? I said no, and eventually I got all the money back. In crypto DeFi, that won't happen. We are the bank, but we're also in charge of our own security. You get sloppy with your security, you have no education on what you're doing, or you have just sloppy security practices, and you start approving all these contracts, or you leave your seed phrase on a screenshot somewhere in a Google Drive, and your Google Drive gets broken into, all your crypto is gone and there's nothing you can do about it. Which is why we're so big on the security protocol. Warren Buffett, rule number 1, never lose money. I think a lot of people get sloppy with their security and they take on some massive losses because they get hacked or scammed. And again, it's not like if you have tight security practices, you won't get hacked, you won't get scammed, but you've got to have security practices in place. So again, to some they see that as a con. I see it as a pro because I am in full custody. I take full responsibility for my dollars, for my money, for my DeFi bank account. And no centralized authority can tell me otherwise. By the way, I really got into crypto and DeFi during the truckers convoy in Canada. I donated a bunch of money, both personally and through my corporation, because I liked what the boys were doing. I was cheering for them. And then Canada deemed that protest illegal and started freezing people's bank accounts. That's when I was like, there is something fundamentally wrong here. And I started moving a lot. I was already investing in Bitcoin, mostly on centralized type sites. I started moving a lot of my crypto onto the blockchain. Eventually, most of my balance sheets from my company and personally onto the blockchain, and now I'm comfortable transacting and moving millions of dollars around the blockchain, and I've never been hacked or exploited ever since I got tight security. When I first got into crypto, I did see some losses, and that's because I didn't know what I was doing. I had really poor security practices. But once you learn this stuff, you can transact millions of dollars, and as long as you know what you're doing, you're going to be fine. So I'll pick DeFi over centralized every single time. Now there's more and more off-ramp solutions. So you can actually pay your bills with DeFi. It's super, super cool. I still use banks, and there's still a time and place for it. Like our mortgage is through a bank, but I'll keep the minimum amount, 3-month burn. I'm able to cover mortgages and payments or whatever, car payments, blah, blah, through kind of centralized entities and banks. But in the near future, I can guarantee you there's more. I mean, I'm sitting in a Lambo right now. When I bought this, I asked them, do you accept crypto? They didn't at the time, but they were working on it. There'll be more and more things that you buy and be able to transact on a daily and pay your bills straight over with crypto, and you'll be able to interact, never actually having to use a full centralized, you won't have to convert your money back into fiat, zap it into a bank, pay bills. And there's already a ton of solutions for that, by the way. It's not like it's far away. It's already here. People just, it's still, the simplicity of the use is still not there, and so you have to be educated and use it. But just think about, as more people get on-ramped into this stuff, and it's easier and easier to actually get on-ramped into DeFi and actually interact and use DeFi and peer-to-peer, the space can only go one way, which really, really excites me, which is why I'm such a big investor in the space. I really hope that explains it. Again, this is like level 1 explanation, but for those who maybe have no idea what DeFi is, or they think crypto is just meme coins, it's not. We got multiple blockchains we can transact on, and ultimately DeFi is whatever banks can do, we can do. It's banks that are built by the people, for the people, and it's all smart contract based code. If this, then that. And so the transactions don't need a middleman. That's fundamentally what DeFi is. I really, really hope that explanation helps in some way, shape, or form. In the comments, if you're a beginner to this, or you're just entering crypto and DeFi, do let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I will make content specifically for you. Just ask or hit me up on Instagram at Rubixinator. Hit me up with any questions. I will make content specifically for you. My goal is just to onboard more people into DeFi. I think it is the most exciting thing that I have ever found, not just as an investor, but as someone who is on the front lines of it and seeing the space evolve so rapidly. I'm super passionate about it. So I hope I can serve you. Ask any questions you have in the comments below. With that said, I'm going to get out of here. Like this channel, subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.